Welcome back to the Freedom Soapbox. We are your hosts, Namdi and Ashley. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
Great.
How are you doing?
We're superb,
you?
amazing.
Good.
All right, so something came up in the news. What's in the headlines, babe?
Okay, so in the headlines are what we were just now reading. Can employers require a COVID vaccine?
So the question is, can employers require their employees to get vaccinated?
And then the federal agency says yes, they can, and they can also offer incentives.
Which federal agency?
The federal one.
The EEOC.
The
They're
EEOC.
responsible for labor laws. All right. So the argument here is because obviously it's like half of the country are okay with being vaccinated for COVID, and then there's the other half that don't want the vaccination for whatever reason, religious beliefs, pregnancy, just preference. The preference part is the part that most people
There
don't
are
like.
people that are totally against vaccines completely.
Exactly.
So
What do you think? Do they have a right to that?
I feel like everyone has the right to decide what's going to go inside your body. And if you are a vaccine person, go for it. If you're not, you should not have to have the vaccine.
Yes. I think that it's a violation of people's rights when you mandate for someone to put something
You're
foreign
not
in
in
their body.
charge of their body. You don't have any right to act like that.
So, but the headline, this particular post we just read, is a conversation about the government stepping in, or whether employers, is it an infringement on your constitutional rights when employers refuse you work, or a place of business refuses to serve you if you have not been vaccinated, or if you are unable to show proof that you've been vaccinated?
So, some people say that that's against your Fourth Amendment right, but then, lawyers are saying, well, no, it has nothing to do with your Fourth Amendment right, because that has to do with the government searching and seizing you for no reason, like without a warrant and all that. So it's not technically the same thing, because these are private businesses going, if you want to work for us, you have to be vaccinated. But I think that it does go against your the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and then all those other amendments that they have changed, and other labor laws. Anyway, because aren't businesses not supposed to discriminate against us if we have any kind of medical deficiency, any kind of disability? And for any reason, we're not supposed to be discriminated against and not supposed to be pushed out, not allowed to get a job at a place, because of something, because of your race, religion, anything like that, or anything medically related as well.
Right. And
this is medical related, isn't it?
See, but it's really tricky. You still have to be able to perform your job, the duties that you're being hired for. That's a different situation.
And also with reasonable accommodation. And if that business can provide you with reasonable accommodation, like having a wheelchair ramp, or allowing you to have breaks to take insulin shots or something like that, you know what I mean? If you can perform your job with accommodations, then you should still be allowed to have that job.
Well, that's what the EEOC, based on their recent guidelines, is that yes, you can require or request for proof of vaccination, or require your employees to be vaccinated, but you also have to accommodate those who don't get vaccinated, and that's exactly the way it should go, because you will be infringing on rights by telling people that they have to get vaccinated, and it's a slippery slope.
How do you accommodate people who don't have?
Well, just like church today, there's a role for people who are masked, and there's a role for unmasked people. I don't think that we should be, or government.
Okay.
I don't think that government or businesses should be in the business of forcing people to get vaccinated. That's,
Right.
you shouldn't be doing that. Just like you can't tell
But isn't your medical information private.
Yeah, HIPAA laws, which are federal,
Because aren't those laws
protect
supposed
your.
to be protecting us individuals? Well, if you're forcing them to tell you if you've been vaccinated or not, and then they're going to start separating people in the workplace. These are the non-vaccinated, these are the vaccinated people, y'all need to wear a mask, kind of thing. Like, how isn't that infringing on your rights as well?
It is. We're making the same argument. We're saying that employers shouldn't have the power to, discriminate
Right.
on people, and I agree with that. Now, yes, it's their business. I can hear people already making the argument that it's their business and they can do whatever they want with it. Yeah, but you're serving people. It's a slippery slope. There was a time in the history of this country where people like a black individual was not allowed in restaurants. They weren't getting served, or certain restaurants at least. These laws exist for a reason, and they exist to protect our individual rights. And it's important that we stick to those laws, because if we don't, like I said, it's a slippery slope, and it can devolve into a place where we're now where we're really divided. It's.
Yeah.
I think that the thread that holds our civilization is very thin, and if we're not keen and paying attention to protect those contracts, those individual contracts that we have among each other, among people of different races, different backgrounds, different religions, there's a civil contract that we've agreed upon, that we're going to live among each other. We're going to have relationships with each other. We're going to, coexist peacefully. Once those contracts break, we've seen around the world where things don't work. Look at the way Israelis and Palestinians live. They're constantly killing each other for no reason. Human beings that want the same thing. They all pursue happiness and love and care about their own people, but they're fighting other individuals just because of identification. Our created identities. One is Israeli and one is Palestinian, and then they decided to just continue fighting each other and killing each other. So that can happen here if we don't uphold the laws that are already in place and enforce them. That's what I believe. In summary,
so you basically think that just the whole vaccination thing alone in the United States is going to start dividing people?
No, not vaccination. No. Vaccination is okay. Listen, vaccination is what has prevented us from having
COVID
some of these other.
vaccinations, not the whole COVID vaccination situation.
Right. Vaccinations are not inherently wrong, but what the argument is about is our freedoms, our rights. Should employers have the rights to refuse work or demand paperwork or proof of vaccination from their employees? Should businesses have the right to deny service? That's the question. And if you ask me, I think they shouldn't have that right.
Should employers separate the employees that have been vaccinated with the ones who haven't?
No, it's not.
Do you think that would
No.
happen
It's
as well?
not. It's not a thing about separation.
No, because
What?
I think if you do separate people and people are able to identify, even in the workplace or going anywhere, who is a masker, who's a non-masker, don't you think that's going to cause a lot of problems?
Well, let me explain
Or
something.
conflict?
Let me give you an example. When in the hospital, working as an RN, you're not required to get the flu vaccine, and the flu shots are given out every year, right? You're not required to you're required to have it, but if you choose for whatever reason not to have it, the hospitals are mandated to accommodate you. And a lot of them, what they will tell the employees that don't want to get vaccinated, that they have to wear a mask during their shift. And a lot of them do. The ones that don't want to get vaccinated, that's the kind of accommodations that we speak of. If you are an employer and if you want people to be vaccinated, that's fine, but you have to accommodate the ones that don't want to get vaccinated, and that's how it should be. It's always been that way, and it's worked out well, and they should keep it that way. When we, because of hysteria or mass whatever it is, choose to start pushing the boundary on who can make laws and who can discriminate against who, that's when we're overstepping the boundaries. And I think that we don't need to get that far. You know, there's good people who are gonna go, well, if you don't wear a mask, you're affecting me because you could get me sick. All that nonsense is exactly just that, nonsense. Okay.
Well, I feel like that's what's going to happen if, you know.
But it's been proven time and time again that that's not the case. The mask is not even protecting anything. Okay, currently, states like New York and California are still somewhat on a lockdown, right? Florida, Texas, we're in Florida. People are walking around here with no mask. COVID cases have not gone up, or it hasn't been any.
It's supposedly has actually never been that bad here.
My point exactly. So we've got to be careful about trying to attack people's constitutional rights in the name of safety. It's an illusion of safety. So let's respect each other, respect one another. It's a civil society, and let's be civil to one another. Don't yell at a stranger or someone who you don't know and yell profanity at them. Don't try to tell them, go wear a mask. That's rude. You're in no place to do that.
Or if someone is standing behind you in the line and they're probably 6 feet, maybe 5, but you don't need to keep yelling at them and tell them to move away from you.
Yeah, you don't need to do that.
Further out. That's
You're
not.
It doesn't it doesn't automatically make you a better human being. You don't win virtue signaling points because you're yelling at someone who doesn't. You wear your own damn mask and mind your own damn business, okay? Anyway, that's it for that. All right. Thank you for watching and listening to our own point of view. Share your own point of view on the comment section. We'll read it and we'll talk about it. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.